Welcome to the McGowanGroup. Glad you came for your tour. All right, so the first starts with what everybody does for you. And we manage over 900 million for affluent families, lots in North Texas and lots around the country by referral. So each team member has a distinct role and is more talented than I am in at least one area. We'll start with the goddess of results, Michelle Brady. And she joined us from a similar firm with great experience on the online systems that we already use, and she's advanced those. Preston Lane, Texas Tech grad. He is Director of Client Relations. Harrison Smith, official title Indiana Jones. He is the master of spreadsheets. So if you want to know what you're going to look like in 2060 financially, he's the guy. Goddess of Execution, Chief Financial Officer Karen Duckworth. Izzy Sanchez, Chief Compliance Officer. He's also a DJ that helps with the client podcast that we do every week. So he helps us connect the dots and improve the sound. Super Chuck Norris, Stephen Norris. So he is head of trading, and as allocation director, he will take a block trade if we make a change. Here in the investment committee, we'll decide what we want to address or change within the portfolios. One block trade, everybody gets their allocations, pro rata percentage, for no client left behind, and Stephen Norris makes sure it comes with Excel spreadsheet magic. Now, Andrew Wharton and Alex, they've officed together since the 90s. They were market makers, traders, and now they've come over to the fiduciary side of the business. Andrew Wharton, Director of Research, Alex Tolene, an experienced trader, Chief Operating Officer. We'll cover the Texas Financial History Private Collection. This has financial lessons that you won't forget. The first, this was Texas after independence, 1844 map. These are replicas, and I got some originals for you around the corner. These are originals. It was October 1835. The settlers weren't happy right here. And of course, that flag stands in the Capitol. The resulting republic, most people don't know this, the only state that was actually a country before it became a state. Texas ran out of money after statehood. 1852, they became a state. Why are the borders different? They ceded this territory, which today includes all the ski resorts in the Continental Divide, for only $15 million. They were in debt, and you're going to see some originals of that Republic debt. This is April 21st, my son's birthday, but back in 1836, they defeated Santa Anna, decided on the flag, took his gold from him and didn't give it back, and that backed the initial currency. These are our separately managed account disciplines: most aggressive, broadest discipline, conservative, and high cash flow. So those are originals, and those models guide each of those disciplines depending on what's best for you, the client. Now these are originals. That's an original $50 bill. Back then, that would have been about 2,500 bucks. And they were made of cloth, so they didn't melt when you rode your horse down to Austin. This is an 1842 hand-painted original map, and you can see better definitions on the Continental Divide and the rivers that defined Texas at the time. This is bond lesson. Now, Republic of Texas issued initial bonds, $5 coupons every 6 months. The math still works the same in the bond market, it's just a lot faster. You would take your $5 coupon on 100, that was about 5,000 back then. Take your $5 coupon down to the bank and they'd give you cash. On the last coupon, if the issuer could pay, you got your money back. Well, the federal merger with the state of Texas, or the Republic of Texas, At statehood, they paid off this debt. $5 coupons on 100, that was 10%. That's more of a B credit. Here, a year later, 1846, $4 coupons, so that was 8%. Now, here's what we do in the current B-rated bond markets. Well, when everybody's scared, if you need to sell a bond early, you might only get $75 for that bond. And in the crisis of 22, there were great portfolios of well-managed B-rated corporate bonds that went to 75 cents. Well, if you only pay 75 cents for that, you're getting 12%. Plus, if the issuers can pay, at the end, you got yourself about a 30% capital gain. And that's the pursuit in the bond markets. This was state of Texas, 1 year after the Civil War, $25 coupons, 5% on 1,000. This is the best equity story. And it illustrates how Texas built the 7th largest building in the world with no money down. What they did, they carved out 3 million acres, it spanned 10 counties, and they put that up and said, whoever will build us a state capitol will get the ranch. And everybody was excited about cattle, especially in Chicago, and Texas was a great frontier. So Chicago Construction Syndicate got backing in London to build the 7th largest building in the world. They finished 1888. Now at that point, the original investors wanted their money back. So they went over to London and they issued a bond for $5 million at 7%. They paid that off early. This is the equity. They issued $10 million in equity. 40 years later, shares of the world's largest Spence Ranch operating company still traded in London. So that's the equity side, and the bond side turned out just fine as well. They bought the equivalent, the land cost them somewhere between 15 and 25 cents an acre. And of course, by 1917, they were selling it for a tidy profit for the shareholders. That's a Dallas County Road bond, original, paid off before the Depression. That was 1904. This was a bond print run for the train station back in 1926 for 7 cents cash. Looks like you could ride with movie stars. That's the old Love Field right there. Crop dusters mainly at the time. Last equity story. Greatest female investor that detective has ever known, Carolyn Rose Hunt. Her brothers, Bunker and Nelson, proceeded to lose $1 billion of their inheritance in the silver market. That's a famous story. Carolyn Rose Hunt quietly bought 20 acres in Uptown and even more. This is the start of the Crescent, and we serve affluent families right here from the Crescent. This was called Street Jazz. The photographer's a friend of mine. He was an architect. It was an old car lot, an old Mexican food restaurant. She built the first multi-use building, the Crescent in Dallas. Had to give away the first year free to get people to move out of downtown. It was the only real outpost between downtown and Highland Park. Retail, office, hotel, and that turned out extraordinarily well. She also owns where the Ritz-Carlton is, another office tower over here, and the apartment building across the street. So she's our famed female investor. Thanks for coming on the tour.